Hello guys, welcome to another build order guide. In this build I will be showing you guys how to perform Scout Rush in Arabia. This build's pretty popular with civs like huns. Saracens is actually another civ that can you can definitely use scouts on. Usually when you're doing the Scout Rush you want a civ that can get bloodlines, that way you can upgrade the scouts later, but it's not always the case. Sometimes I see people doing Scout Rush on other civilizations that don't get bloodlines, but I think in general you want to usually make units that you're going to be able to upgrade later on in the game. So, yeah. So yeah, this build is it's pretty basic. Um, it's basically pretty basic. It's not very difficult to do. It's probably could be one of your first, or should be one of your first feudal age build orders. If you're just learning how to do flushes, then yeah, this is a good video to start with. Scout Rush is really it's a strong strategy on maps where the opponent's like really far away. That way you can use the scouts' mobility to get to the opponent's base quickly. Scouts are another great unit just because you can really kind of pick where and when you want to take a fight. Um, so yeah, they got that versatility. Um, Units like archers obviously are good as well, but they lack the versatility of being able to always pick where they want to fight. Sometimes if somebody goes mass scouts and the other person goes archers, the person with mass scouts can run away from a bad fight, but the archers really can't. So, so I think we have 4 on wood now, so we're gonna go get our first boar. Some people do 3 on wood just so that they have a stronger food eco and they can get up to feudal age a little bit quicker. Not quicker, but a little easier. They won't struggle for food as much. But I prefer to go 4 on wood for all my strategies because it just gives you a little bit. Like the opponent won't know what you're doing if you're doing 3 on wood usually. So, or 4 on wood, I mean. So here, I'm just gonna kill the boar now. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna just send the new vills on. I'm gonna send the new vills onto the sheep. That way I don't waste I don't want the sheep rot all the way. Then I can send them the berries a little bit later. That's usually what I do. See if we can find that other boar. I don't know if I found it yet. Did I find it? Oh, it's up on the hill here. It's gonna be a tricky boar lure. So we gotta build a house then next. Now, this could be a tricky boar lure. Might want to put a sheep over there. So we're just gonna. So for right now, there's not really a set number that you ever really need to put on berries. Wood is you gotta be pretty strict with the wood here. You definitely want to only put 3 or 4 on wood. You don't want to put like 5 on wood. With berries, it kind of it varies. I mean, it's still food. It's still a food source. So the difference between putting a villager on berries and putting a villager on boar isn't very significant. Obviously, boar and sheep are gathered faster. But if you're in a situation where you have berries forward, maybe you want to gather the berries. If they go for like if they um, forward you or something, right? Or they play really aggressive, you might not even be able to use the berries, early feudal age. So the number you put on berries usually it doesn't really matter that much. I think for this, if you had to pick a set number, I would use 4. But putting if I put 6 on berries, which I think I'm about to do, it's not a big deal. The berries are going to finish faster, so it's going to be a little bit of a downside if the villagers are just idle here if I don't catch it. But the nice thing is that they will finish faster. So if they do go for like a tower rush or something crazy, right? Then at least I've gotten like the value out of the berries, and I'm not leaving a lot of food, just wasted. Um, so yeah, don't worry too much about the berries in the situation, I guess. Ideally maybe 4, but if you had forward berries, you could always do like 5 or 6 even. In this situation, I'm gonna go 6, but yeah, don't focus too much on this, and don't be like, oh, I got to do every single villager, exactly right, with the build order. The build orders aren't there for, you don't have to do them exactly, and it's really hard to do build orders exactly in a game because especially once you get later into Dark Age, you know, uh, you start making small mistakes, and you need to be able to compensate for them. And knowing how to adjust to it for a build is more important than just knowing how to do the build itself. Well, I guess knowing how to do the build itself is the most important thing, but adjusting for the build is just as important. And so in this situation, um, we made an adjustment because we intended to go to berries earlier, but since we killed a sheep, we wanted to get the value out of the sheep that we had killed. So now we're compensating for it a little bit by sending more later. So, but don't whenever you're doing these builders, don't look at the numbers and go, oh, on 18 pop I have to do this build. It has to go there. If you do that, you're gonna be crazy because it's just the general idea. You need to know the general idea of the build. The general idea for scouts is basically, you get up to feudal age quick, and you have a good food eco, right? That's the general idea. So as long as you follow that, then that's the whole goal. With the food or with the villas on wood, it's just about establishing a wood eco for the mill, and then we're actually gonna build some farms a little bit, like pretty soon here. But don't get all confused and be looking at each number, especially if you haven't seen the other builds. Some of the other ones are a little bit trickier. Don't look at each number, don't be trying to get it exactly right. Just really try to get the general idea down, and yeah, so let me just kind of go forward. I might actually lose this villa here. We'll see what happens, but no, I'll be good. So I need to build a house though, which we're doing. Oh, that was close. That villa should not have gone. We don't want to overcrowd berries though. So, all right. So you want to add 2 farms when you actually get the wood. So I'm a little bit late on the 2 farms, but uh, yeah. So you can see here, eco's looking pretty good. I think we found all our sheeps. Good there. And yeah, getting loom late here like this is really important. I mean, you don't want to like avoid loom if it's going to mean losing a villager, but getting it late like this is really important to being able to get up to feudal age at a good time and have a really nice eco. If you had to get loom earlier, it really hurts your eco. So um, getting loom like right now is so much better than um, getting it very early on. So yeah. So here we're gonna drop the food, and yeah. So at this point we're clicking up to feudal age. All right. So this is kind of I'm just gonna kind of instead of just giving you the build order straight, I'm gonna kind of give you the reasoning why we do the build order this way. You can see now I have 4 on wood. If you've seen my other videos, you basically know that 4 on wood, when you click up to feudal age, is good for 1 military building, right? So in order to be able to produce 2 military buildings, we need 8 on wood, right? Well, the one thing you don't want to do is put too many villas on one resource station or whatever, right? And so instead of putting 8 on this one lumber camp, we're going to put 4 on another, right? But the thing is now that we've put 4 on another, we've had to build another lumber camp. So in order to make up for the lumber camp, we have to put an additional 2 villagers onto wood as well. So what I like to do here is we need 4 on another wood so that we can do the stable, right? But what I like to do is I'll usually have the extra 2 villas that I need to have on wood to compensate for the lumber camp. I usually like putting those villagers on like straggler trees or something like that. In this situation, I think the best thing to do if you're doing scouts is to go like 4 on one wood and 5 on the other, because usually with like a lot of civs transition into archers. Um, if you're not going to transition archers, you're just going to go full scouts, then excuse me, then you can do 4 and 4 and then just do 2 on stragglers. But since I think most times people transition into archers, especially when you have a really open map, I think it's best to go 4 on one wood and 5 on the other. So that's going to be the number I'm going to be telling people, but you want to have at least another 1 on straggler. So we're going to do 4, 5, and 1 on straggler. That way we can have the wood that we need in order to get the 2 military buildings. You also want to have the wood to get the horse collar upgrade and wood upgrade. Um, so that's not as important. Getting the buildings up right away is really important, but we also want to make sure to get the horse collar and wood upgrade as well, so we're going to need the wood for that. So right now I'm just going to make a quick transition with the villagers onto the TC, and this is something you should be able to do in real time when you start practicing this build. So I know I paused right here, but I'm not pausing to help myself. I'm like in real time, you're going to be able to do this. You already have 4 on wood. You need to move 5 to wood, either right before you click or right after. If you have the food before you click, right, you have a really good eco, then sure, do it right before you click up to feudal age. But just make sure you have the food to click. Don't like go over there when you have like 450 food. That's risky and it might not work. So anyways, I'm gonna send the 5 to wood here, and then I'm gonna put the 1 on straggler, right? So here we go. So we're gonna take the 5, and we're gonna send those 2, and then here I'm just gonna snipe. I'm gonna snipe these low HP ones, and I'm just gonna put them on the straggler here. I don't need to send them as well. So here we got 5, right? And then we're just gonna have like 2 of them built in lumber camp. You don't need to have all 5 if you can micro it. Here you can see we have the like these guys right here. So we're just gonna put 1 there, 1 there. All right, around 50%, you want to have your barracks be going up. You can actually do it on 60%, but okay, just do it on 50 or 60. You want to have the barracks be being built like right about now. Don't start building it later, because that'll prevent you from getting the stable up at a good time. So yeah, 2 farms, 4 on wood before you click up, 4 on berries usually. Then once you click up, add 5 to wood, then add like an extra 1 here or something like that, right? Because you can see right now, if you're looking at our wood, it's getting like really nice. Like we're just about ready to go up here to feudal age, and we're gonna take these 2 villas, and we're gonna add the stable, and then we can get the wood upgrade, right? Get the wood upgrade first. Don't get the horse collar. You don't need horse collar right away until you make farms, but once you get the food for that, get horse collar, and then new villagers can go on to either sheep or to the straggler trees. And yeah, one thing I forgot here that you don't want to forget in the actual game, build the house, because what'll happen is, and you're gonna see it, I'm gonna get housed for a second here, is you're gonna get housed if you try to make a scout and a villager at the same time, right? You don't want that to happen. So try to avoid that in the actual game. Um, yeah, so I'll build 1 more house and then I'll just put this guy over here. But you can see right now our food eco is really nice. Now all we have to do is keep moving vills to farms, right? Put the new vills on stragglers, and put the vills on sheep to farms, and yeah. See, this will work really nice for us. And don't put a farm over the straggler like this. Just put if you're making a farm, put it over here or something. Let your villagers, get the value out of that. Let the villagers get the value out of that straggler tree. It's got 33 wood on it. It's nice and close. So don't just destroy it or whatever right away. Just get silly. We just keep kind of going around it. Let those villagers get good value out of it. And then just keep making scouts, In later builds, we're gonna look at where you can go from this. Like all my builds, I'm just showing you kind of the basic startup to the builds, and then I'll make extended videos on like where you would go from here. So in some such situations, what you'll do is you're going to in some situations at this point you might go and add ranges or go to look to add ranges. In other situations, you may want to go for the more scouts or get the scout upgrades. It kind of diverges from this point on, right, on what you do, but once you get a couple scouts, you want to go out there and try to do some damage. Avoid spears, right, because they do so much damage. See if they're trying to wall up. If you know you're playing somebody that likes to wall, right, always like keep your starters, not only your starter scout, but look and see about like if you've scouted them well, look and see where you would wall. Think about where you would wall, and then put a scout there, because usually what they do is people will send spears, to their wood lines or to their berries, right? Or to the gold if they're going archers or something. But they usually don't have a spear following the guy that's walling. So if you catch if there's like a guy walling out here or something like that, then and you catch them, 1 scout is usually enough to get them before they can get back to their base. You can kill the villagers, and having those 1 vill leads are really important, especially if they're trying to wall. Like getting a kill out by a wall it kind of has like a psychological effect on them as well, because if they they're thinking like if I try to wall out there again, there might be another scout. You might lose another village or something like that. So they might not even finish the wall. And yeah, so yes, I mean walling is like the biggest way to scout, probably to counter scouts. And then followed by spears. Spears are strong counter. Um, so don't, if you're going scouts and you notice they're starting to wall quick, make sure to get over there quickly because usually if they're walling, their military isn't going to be as strong. So you don't really have to worry about a counterattack on you. But just make sure you get over there and try to deny a wall before it gets up because once the wall is up, your scouts are going to be pretty useless. They're not going to be able to do really any damage, and you're gonna have spent all these resources in a unit that can't really do anything, right? So um, so yeah, that's it for the scout build order. If you guys have any feedback on this guide, then let me know in the comments. Don't give me crap about getting like housed or something like that. Like I'm not really too. You shouldn't do this in the game. You should always make sure to make the stable in the house right away. But don't leave comments like, "Oh, make the guide again because you got housed" or something like that. Because I'm not gonna make the guide again because I got housed. But anyways, let's see what time I got up at. I think I should have got up at a decent time. Usually, what you're looking for when you do this Usually what you're looking for when you're doing this guide is you're gonna look to go up by like 10, like 10, 20, anything under like 10, 25, 10, 20 is really good. Like pro players probably getting like under like 10, 15 or so. So let's see how I did. I think I did okay. I don't think I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention, but so I got 10, 17. So 10, 17 is solid. If you get under 10, 15, that's really, really good for 22 pop scouts. So yeah, so um, I should be making more guides. I'm kind of just ramboing them out right now. So just look for the other guides and the second level, like the extensions on these build orders will probably be coming out within like a week or two. Probably within a week, I think I can get them out. So look for those guides as well. But yeah, make sure you get the build order down first, and then once you can do this guide, then look for the extension guides or look for other build orders and try to work on those as well. All right, guys, thanks for watching. See you later.